Hi everyone, this is Makai Costin with the Athletes section. Today we have a special guest who plays soccer for Providence College in Rhode Island, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, I'm Julian Restrepo, 19 years old, and I'm from Wellington, Florida.
Julian is also a redshirt freshman. He plays defender and helped his school to back-to-back titles before graduation. So now we're here, and I can't wait to get started.
Can't wait.
All right, so Julian, let's first start with the beginning. How did soccer come about for you? What made you fall in love with it? And yeah, how did it lead you to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, kind of how it all started. I was just born into it. I'm an only child of two Colombian parents, so more on my dad's side. My dad just grew up living, eating, breathing soccer, and so it's
Mm.
kind of the same format for me. Every time I was walking around the house, soccer was on. There was always soccer balls in the house. Everything was soccer oriented, so it was just everything that was around me. And then as soon as I was old enough to walk or run, kick the ball a little bit, my dad put me into the recreation leagues, whatever there was for my age group at the time. And then from there, I kind of just took off with it. My parents, they even tried getting me into other sports. I remember they tried getting me into like tennis, and I would like throw the racket down. I'd be like, no, I want to play soccer.
Yeah.
From that point on, my parents were like, yeah, I mean, soccer is the way to go. He wants to do it. And then I kind of just took everything in my stride, and to the point where I'm very privileged to play as a Division 1 soccer player at Providence College.
Yeah. Wow. And also, how did you also play lacrosse at some point?
I did for my senior year of high school. I was not very good at it. If anything, I always joke around with my friends or some of my buddies when we mentioned lacrosse. I probably kicked the ball more times than I actually held it in my stick. So, and I didn't even know you could kick the ball in lacrosse until my lacrosse coach told me. He was like, "You know what? Like, you're 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 faster than most of the lacrosse kids. Just kick the ball up the field and then get it to a guy that knows how to play with his hands." And that was my
Wow.
role.
Wow. You learn something new every day. I didn't know you could kick the ball either until you just told me right now. So that's
I had
pretty
no clue. Yep, I had no clue.
wow. I remember thinking about I want to go like watch a lacrosse match. I remember my friend invited me one time and I wasn't able to make it. But I thought about playing lacrosse. I don't know why. I think I just had a friend who like played lacrosse and softball and she was like, "Oh my gosh, lacrosse is so fun." And I watched a few videos and I'm the type of person, especially back then, where if I watch a documentary on any like sports related thing or like see someone doing it, and I'll be like, surely I can do it as well. And she's like, yeah, just give me, I can give you my equipment and just look it up and you can sign up. And I told my parents, I was like, Maka, what's this new idea? What is he trying to get into?
Yeah, my parents were kind of just like, "Are you sure you want to play lacrosse?" And then I kind of just got thrown into it with some of my friends. I went to a very very small high school. High school.
Hmm.
Graduated with like 31 kids in my grade, and
Wow.
so very very small school. And so the lacrosse coach was like, "Hey, we need some players," and so they grabbed some guys from the soccer team. They were like, "We just need some athletic guys," and so
Yeah.
me and a few of my buddies, we gave it a shot. Some were better than others, but we were not great at all. So, but it was fun. It was different.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I was talking to someone yesterday about like there's some sports that I play and I'm just like glad to at least just say I played even if it was just like for one season. Um but yeah, no, I get that. And you mentioned your school. So I saw that you went to Pine School for 2 years and then from there did you just kind of like move to another academy to play soccer? Or how did that work or transition?
So my high school kind of career, in a sense, was very sporadic. I bounced around three different high schools.
Mhm.
So my when I was 14, my freshman year of high school, I actually lived in Minnesota for 1 year. It's called the International School in Minnesota. I was
Mm,
recruited to go play there for it's an MLS academy team called Minnesota United.
wow.
So at 14, I boarded there, lived by myself, well, with a roommate at a boarding school. Would go to school, eat there, train, take a bus to training like an hour away and then come back. And so that was a definitely cool experience at 14 years old. But then obviously the pandemic hit. and so everything was in shutdown, lockdown, and then I ended up coming back to Florida. And then for my sophomore year of high school, I kind of went to a different place. It was called Club Med Academies at the time. Um, it was one of those only schools and soccer programs that were really running during the COVID pandemic time. And so I went there for a year. And then after that, my coach from that program left to the Pine School to go coach and started an organization. And he told me this would be a really good opportunity to further my education and my soccer development. So I went to the Pine School for my junior and senior year. And so probably the
Oh.
best decision I made. But yeah, definitely very, very touch and go where I was, but I'm happy it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, that's really great. That's and it's like, I don't know, that's life, right? Like you never know like where it leads you, but once you're in that like position, you're like, okay, this is kind of nice, like how it kind of led me through this way. I like that a lot. How where's your like, especially because you moved around schools and went to boarding school so young, how was your mindset then kind of adjusting to each environment and adapting?
Well, I think the biggest transition moment was probably that Minnesota one,
Mm,
where I was I just turned 14, going to live there on my own as an only child without my parents. I pretty much had uh an experience of like I had to grow up very quickly and
mm,
mature very quickly at a very young age. Had to be very dependent on myself, do my own laundry, gotta stay on top of my own homework,
mm.
classes, and then of course soccer because that's what I was there for. So it was just a lot of growing up to do, but then, it really set me up for my future, and it's kinda made at least the transition of going to college, like what I'm at, pretty easy. I feel like I have some of my background knowledge from when I was 14, which not a lot of people can say, so,
Mm.
um, I'm happy that I was able to get that experience, but then as from leaving Minnesota back to Florida, it kinda felt easy to just go back home to Florida. I already knew some people that I was going to school with, so I was able to transition within a group, so that definitely felt easier, but the Minnesota one was definitely a transition, but that ended up working out for me.
Yeah, that's really great. And then how were your parents kind of like or how do you think they kind of reacted? Was it pretty easy going to like let you go to these places or was it kind of like a struggle or how were their I guess reactions and their mindsets letting you go to these different places and getting you to experience that but then also coming back home and now you're back away again for college. It's like I'm sure it's a big adjustment for them as well.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions, especially for my mom.
Mm.
Uh, Mom's definitely, the one that took, there's a lot of crying involved, but, when I was like, when I was 14, there was, 2 years prior to that, I had gone on with, like, a trial to another club, in which I could have moved there as well, but at that time I was 12, and
Oh
so they
gosh.
they were like, "Okay, this is a little bit young, let's whatever," but at that point, my dad had already, like, said, like, "Okay, like, just saying in 2 years' time, whatever, like, there's a possibility he could be going away." So my dad
Mm,
was more all in and kind of, making reassuring to my mom that, this is gonna happen. So
yeah.
uh, I'm grateful that obviously they let me and they sacrificed and allowed me to pursue and follow my dreams. But yeah, that first moment when I left for Minnesota was definitely tough on me and my mom, and my dad had the confidence in me that like yeah this is gonna work out great, and then now going off to college. I think that first day, my mom again she cried, but it wasn't as hard for her. She said than it
Right.
was 14.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's the parents' love, just making those sacrifices and putting you in those best positions that they see fit, and just kind of like looking back and reflecting on how much they do. It's like really amazing to see. They're really superheroes for sure.
Honestly, yeah, and I talk to them every day, so we
Yeah.
always maintain that constant messaging, even if it's just quick messages, or
Mm.
I call them every night. So they're definitely like my foundation right there.
Yeah, I love that. That's really sweet, and I'm sure they're very blessed to hear you say that as well. So, transitioning to college, is it I know you said it's a little bit easier, especially, going to boarding school so young and then kind of learning to adapt and in your environments and move around a little bit. But how was that transition going to college? Because now your responsibilities are different, and now you're expected to know a little bit more at a certain age. So, and being away again. So, how was that mentally and I guess physically transitioning over to Rhode Island from Florida?
Yeah. I mean, as much as I said it's been easier, I feel like no transition kind of like this going to college is always going to be smooth sailing. There's always
Mm,
going to be bumps in the road, always going to be some stuff that you have to go through. And that freshman year was pretty pretty eventful. A lot of moving parts going around. New team, new state, new school. It kind of like I said in my high school, I was very touch and go, and I had to stop and start over. And so I felt like this was just another one of those. Okay, stop, start over, build yourself kind of a new life essentially. You're gonna meet new people, have a new outlook. You're gonna have new experiences. So it was it was interesting to see how college kind of ran itself with being a student athlete. You got school, and then you got trainings, and you have meetings, and you have film sessions.
mm,
You have, as a freshman, at least here in Providence, you have to do a lot of dorming, more roommates, and
mhm.
so it was just very, very different, a lot at once. But I was able to get through that first year. Had my support system, luckily,
Mm.
with everyone on campus, people from back home. So yeah, they were able to get me through it.
That's really great. I feel like a community and a support system is definitely something that's essential to have in every transition in life. Um, and just going through hard times or just even the great times is nice to have that system and foundation to keep you moving forward. So
Yeah.
that's really great. Um, so what are you studying? Like, what are you studying? Your major, your studies, and was going to college kind of everything you expected it to be, or not as much, or even more? Or how was that for you?
So right now I'm a psychology major and a sociology minor.
Okay.
Yep, sociology minor as well. And as for college, what it is, it's a mix of like what I expected, but then I was also surprised how welcoming, at least for Providence, how welcoming everyone has been. What I was looking for, I knew going out of high school, I didn't want to go to a huge, big public school. I liked more of a closer, tight knit family, but also, good in athletics. And I don't think I think Providence was probably like the best pick out of all those. If it feels pretty similar to my high school in a sense, like on a college scale where, you know, everyone pretty much knows everyone, everyone's pretty tight, everyone supports they go to basketball games, they go to soccer games, hockey games, you see a lot of the same people and a lot of people, rooting for you, pushing in the right direction, So um yeah, it was definitely exciting to get that experience. And then as for classes, I'm not the biggest fan of schoolwork, but I mean, I guess that kind of just runs with what you're doing. So you just got to do what you got to do, and get it done. And so, you know, everything has a reason.
Oh yeah, for sure. I also 100% believe that and agree with that. So, yeah, and I guess that's putting the athlete and I mean the student and student athlete. Um, that work definitely does, especially with all of your practices, like you said, film and training, and just having to do that on top of studying for tests and tutors and all that. I know it's a lot of work. So, how are you able to maintain that? Or are you still do you think you have it figured out now as far as your schedule and how you're gonna get things done, or do you feel like you're still kind of learning and figuring things out?
No, I definitely got it figured out now.
Nice.
It's all about finding your routine, and I was able to find it my freshman year in my spring, so in the second semester. It's just finding your routine, finding looking at your schedule, um, and seeing what times you have this, how do you prepare. Uh, Sometimes like I have to go to training straight after class, so maybe it's as simple as like, okay, today at this time I'm gonna have to show up to class in my training gear, so I'm not scrambling across campus to change and go to training on time. And
Right.
so it's all about finding your routine. And then in terms of the schoolwork, like I said earlier, we have a great support system here. So I have a lot of teachers and a lot of staff members behind the scenes that are making my life that much easier. It's when it
Mm.
comes to course registration and planning out. I meet with my advisors, academic, athletic advisors, and so they really, to be honest, they do maybe a little bit more pampering than what's it called, than maybe I should be doing myself and taking care of it. But it speaks volumes on how much they care about us here
Yeah.
and they look out for us. So if it wasn't for them, my head would be in scrambles.
I feel that. That's great though. That really, like you said, speaks volumes into how the program sets you up for great things like that and also just wants to see you succeed. So, and that's very important when choosing, a university that you're going to thrive in as a student and an athlete and just as a person in general, attending that college. Like you want to feel like you're home away from home and having that system to kind of set you up for that type of success is very important. So,
Yeah.
that's good. So, what was the or how did the decision come about to redshirt your freshman year? And how did you kind of maintain growth and stability throughout that year to get ready for this season?
Yeah, I mean, it is at least in sorry, at least
Yeah.
in men's soccer, Division One. It is a pretty common thing for freshmen to come in and redshirt. And at least for my process, I was a bit later in the committing process, and so it was kind of a mutual understanding, being spoken to that, coming in, I was gonna take that redshirt year, kind of take that year to, I think how we described it was like absorb everything like a sponge.
Mm,
You gotta take in what school's giving you, taking what the team's giving you, take that year to really really buckle down, lock in, and have that growth mindset of getting yourself in the gym, working with the trainers, doing some extras off on the field when you can. And so, as tough as it can be mentally, knowing that you're not going to be on the field playing, you still have your role to play, and you still have the things that you need to do and do things the right way. So,
yeah.
uh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. How was it easy for you to keep that mindset of growing and just like working on what you need to work on before the season came, or was it kind of like ups and downs or a struggle in a way?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be ups and downs, but that just comes with, I guess, in the sense, job or your role. This is your life that you chose. I mean, I knew that it was going to be a lot being a student athlete, but again, that's the life that I decided to run with, and so and I don't regret it. So I just have to put in the work that I'm committing to the team. But it was also helpful that I'm surrounded by guys who are in the same boat as me. So I
Yeah.
got other guys in my year who also redshirted, and so for us to stick together, there's strength in numbers, as everyone says. So it was good to circle around with those guys, have each other's backs, and go through highs and lows together.
Yeah. Kind of like we said earlier, that community is definitely important. And when you have each other's backs through that, especially your teammates, it makes it so much easier. And the time goes by really fast. So, and now here we are now. So you see, you just
Exactly.
won your game yesterday and, to keep on with the season. So that's really great.
Yeah.
So I saw somewhere that Kobe Bryant was your favorite athlete of all time. Is he still your favorite athlete? And if so, what qualities does he possess that kind of like makes him your favorite? And how do you see that reflected on you?
That's a good question. Um,
I try, I
well,
try.
yeah. Well, first, Kobe Bryant still is my favorite athlete. I just I remember watching like a even though soccer was always on in the house, I just remember, when you hear like greats of other sports, you got LeBron James, Steph Curry, and then Kobe Bryant in that category. And
Right.
so um I think I really started liking him like a few years ago. Um I would see some podcasts that he would do, and he has the trademark Mamba mentality. And it was a lot of, his mindset and his work ethic and his drive of never being satisfied, always feeling he can do more and always give
Mm,
more to, himself and to his team. And that's something that I really took on, and I really kind of admired about him and want to kind of replicate to any sort of degree that I can, of in terms of work ethic and giving myself over to the team and putting the team first by doing everything in my power to to make myself or my teammates around me better. So it's definitely where a lot of it came from.
Yeah, it's and like you said, like, just having that mentality that I'm good. It's like a good, better, best. Like, you know, what's that saying? My mom always told us this saying. It's like good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. Like it kind of like well, especially as I got older, I started realizing the importance of it. Like you can be good, but there's always, like you said, a way to get better until you get to your best and show other people your best and have them replicate it after you. So yeah, that's a nice way of putting it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So I saw that this past summer you went to Arizona to train with Colombia's national team. Tell me
Mhm.
about that experience of you getting that letter and that invite, and then just your whole experience going through that whole program.
Yeah, that was this past summer. It was honestly one of the most joyous, spontaneous kind of things that like happened. Kind of a little backstory of how it happened. I was playing summer league back home in Florida, with one of these summer teams that I was playing with, and the owner, yes, the director, the owner, he sent out a text message in the group chat saying, "Hey guys, listen, one of my buddy works for the Columbia National Team Federation, and he sends out an email saying they want to do like a friendly game against us in preparation for the big summer tournament that they competed in called Copa America." And so sent out an email and, obviously knowing that I'm Colombian, it was a no-brainer that, I told like, I wanted to be a part of it, partake in it. I told my parents about the opportunity, and straight away with no hesitation, my dad's like, "We're getting that ticket, let's do it." And so, it was one of those things where I couldn't like ever dreamed of, being on the same field as some of those players that I watched growing up and, kind of having that sense of pride and joy being a part of a training session or helping them to whatever degree that we can help them. And so, yeah, it was a very proud moment for me and my family to meet the players. I was able to meet one of the players that actually grew up in the same neighborhood as my dad as well. So it was
Hmm.
chat to him and the whole community in that neighborhood in Colombia. They were spreading stuff on Facebook saying that the family's kind of been like reconnected in some crazy way. So no, honestly, it was just one of those experiences that you never forget.
Wow, that's great. And it's great that you documented. I saw it on the TikTok, and I was like, oh wow, I gotta ask him about that. That's really cool.
Yeah, in taking like the opportunity, they also asked, "Do you mind like filming it?" Because they know that I'll post some TikToks here and there, and so they were like,
Yeah,
"Do you mind?" And so I was like, "Of course,
yeah, sure.
no
Yeah.
worries."
That's definitely an honor, and I know your parents are very, very proud, smiling at you from afar and just excited to see their son, especially as their only child, just doing great things and showing other people your greatness as well. I know that they instilled that in you as you grew, so that's really great.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. So how important was it? Yeah, well, how important was it to represent your Colombian heritage as you moved different places to play soccer, and then even coming to college in Rhode Island? How were you, I guess, representing your heritage, but then also how important is it?
Yeah, I mean, I always represent as much as you can. I mean, you can't see it right now, but above, on this wall across from me right here, I have my Colombian flag above my bed. So
Nice.
definitely represent as much as I can. I love it. I love my background. Wish there was some more Colombian restaurants around here in Providence, but I go and eat as much of my culture's food as I can, and I'm very proud of it. And luckily people here at PC, like I said, they're very warm and accepting, so they find it cool. It's predominantly an American college, so not
Mhm.
too many internationals, even though I was born in the US, but it's cool to be able to share my culture, my background. And if people are ever interested in trying some Colombian food, they know who to ask, and so
Yeah.
we'll we'll go show them some good time with some good eats.
Ooh, what's your favorite Colombian food or Colombian dish?
Ooh, I like a good I like a good steak with some white rice and then some fried plantains all mixed in together.
Ooh. That sounds yummy. I gotta okay, okay.
My
Do you
go-to.
have a go-to spot in I know you said there's not a lot of like eateries there, that's Colombian, or even back at home. Do you have like a go-to spot that you like to visit every once in a while?
Yeah, in Florida, we'll go to this place in West Palm with my parents, and as soon as like we touch down back at home, that's the first spot we go to. So
Nice,
always
nice,
that spot.
nice. I love that. So, you also have a series on TikTok where you swap sports with other athletes, and I think that's so cool. I saw that, I was like, "Wait, we have to talk about this." I think that's so neat, and it's such a good idea. I feel like there should be a program in colleges where all athletes get a chance to do that,
Yeah.
just to kind of like see what how intense each sport is, and kind of like understand where people are coming from, and also just get that experience to play other sports for a day or for a little bit. So, how did that come about, and what have you learned by doing that?
No, honestly, it's one of the it's such a funny experience, and I enjoy it every time that I do it. I think it just started this time last year in the fall. Our season was done, and so we had like a 2 week break period. And with that, like at that point, I just had too much time on my hands. And me and my friend, we got bored one day, and we were like, you know what? Let's film a video of us swapping sports. And we are like, you know what? Let's just do it. I think the first one, I like hopped into the pool with a swimmer, and he was teaching me, running me through the paces of like a swimmer. And then after, we're like, we got to go to the soccer field, see how you do it, see how you fare on the field. And so it was just funny, like obviously I'm not a swimmer, he's not a soccer player, so we get a nice laugh out of it. And then we film a video, and then does pretty well. Got some good traction, and so there's one of those things where if I can build a platform, build a social network while having fun with my friends, why not? And then from that, just a few of my other friends that who are also athletes of different sports decided to chime in and start organizing videos and whatnot. And so it's just honestly like a great deal of fun while just trying different sports. Some of them more in my realm than others. It's funny. I can take away from I what I take away from doing those videos is a great deal of respect for what they do in their sport. And like they've told me the same thing. They're like, yeah, soccer's definitely much harder than I thought it was. A lot of people were saying I feel like it's just kicking the ball into a net, but there's a lot more, you know, body coordination and having a touch and all this. And so I can tell you that it's much harder than we make it look, and what they do is much harder than I think it is. And so it's nice that we get a good laugh out of it in the end.
Yeah, I think that's really like you said, the main word I feel like was respect. Like you get to get a chance to experience it and also respect the other sport. And I think that yeah, that's really fun. It gives you a chance to like say, yeah, I played this. I know what I'm doing. um,
I wouldn't go that far for me, but I can say I tried it. I can say I
yeah,
tried it, I gave it a shot, and so
yeah,
I know what they're trying to do.
yeah. I get the objective of the game now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
I know what I'm supposed to do. I just can't really execute it that well.
Okay, and that's okay. You know, at least you try. That's all that matters.
All that matters.
I feel like soccer was the first sport that my parents put all me and my siblings in. So I played when I was 7, and they said they would just remember me, cheeks red, just running up and down, huffing and puffing on the field. And I don't think I ever got a chance to make a goal.
Oh no.
Actually, no, I did make a goal. But they blew the whistle, and I guess they called timeout right when I did, and I was like, "So you're saying it didn't count?" What's going on? But yeah, no, soccer is definitely a special sport. I feel like um it doesn't get as much notoriety as it should. It's really big. Even I'm from Atlanta, and Atlanta United is doing really well right now in the playoffs, and I feel like it's just something that we need to kind of like be more keen on and be more like focused on a little bit, kind of up there with baseball, basketball, and football. Soccer is also really up there and has a lot of great talent. So I feel like it's something that definitely should be watched a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's growing. I think it's getting its numbers up with
Yeah.
I don't know if you know 2026 World Cup is gonna be here in the US, so
Yes, I saw that.
that'll be a lot more eyes on the sport, and
Oh, yeah.
so, um, yeah, hopefully day by day, year by year, it'll keep growing, but
Yeah. I believe so, for sure. It's definitely getting a lot of eyes on it, especially when people are starting to notice different players, like they have Messi, in Miami.
yeah,
Was it last year when he signed for Miami? Last summer? Yeah. So it's like people are starting to really tap into it a lot more. And I love that, seeing different sports that usually aren't in like big conversations are growing and starting to be in these conversations now. So
yeah,
that's
no,
really
yeah.
great.
I was actually at that presentation for Miami, Messi's Inter Miami revealing, uh,
Mm.
and saw a couple of his games before the ticket prices went.
Oh, they hyped him up. So
I was
wow.
able to get a deal, luckily. I knew someone that worked within the stadium to hook me up with some tickets, but, yeah, that's the prices went up, so I'm like, "Yeah, I'll just watch from TV next time."
Right. At least I went, at least you can say I went.
I did it, yeah.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. Um, so are you planning on playing in MLS at all?
It's kind of day by day, see where things go. Not opposed to playing in the MLS. I'm not opposed to playing abroad in South America, in Colombia, or in Europe, or whatever is brought upon to me. I feel like I don't want to pre-plan anything in my life because,
Right.
as kind of spoke about in my high school career, I was didn't think I was ever gonna live in Minnesota for a year, so, you know, that'd honestly be a dream to play professional soccer anywhere, so if it is in the MLS, I'd be over the moon, and if it were to be somewhere else, I'd be equally just as happy, just as long as I'm playing the sport I love and, with people that, like-minded people surrounded, then I'll be alright.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it as well, and great mindset to have going forward. Like just, like you said, day by day, small steps day by day. You just never know what comes about. Anything can happen. So yeah,
Yeah,
just enjoying the process.
enjoying the process, getting schoolwork done, got papers that I gotta write on, so yeah, I can't look too far into the future, but just live in the moment.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Same here. So my last question, because we are at time now, does not always doesn't feel like 30 minutes. Well, it's 32 minutes, but yeah. So we're close to the time. What is some advice or one key piece of advice you've learned throughout your journey that you want to give someone else who's also going through something similarly to you?
Hmm. Um, I would say one piece of advice I would give. I think this one, it's really important to me. It's never get too high and never get too low. Um, we're always there's always something to look forward to. So you can have a great moment and you can enjoy it, but never sit on that high because there's always the next day you got to prove it again or you have to do something more. And so I feel like that always keeps you hungry. And then on the flip side, never get too low because there's always that opportunity that if you didn't have a good day or you didn't have a good game or whatever it was, you know there's always the opportunity of the next game, and there's always an opportunity to do better and to work on things. So never get too high, never get too low.
I like that. Really great advice. Where can the people find you on social media?
Ooh, let's see if I have this on the spot. My Instagram is Julian underscore Restrepo 05. And I think my TikTok is the same handle. So
Mm, nice.
if you want to see some more swapping sports videos, we
Yes,
got
check
some in
it
there.
out. It's
Got
really
some
fun. I
in there.
really enjoyed them. I enjoyed watching them. I was like, "Oh, this looks so fun." I wish I would have had a chance to do that.
Yeah, we got some more in the works, so we'll get some in there.
Yes, you heard it here first, guys. Go follow the TikTok. Go watch them. They're really fun to watch. So,
Thank
yeah. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. Why did I say jumping? Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I really enjoyed this conversation and getting to know you, who you are on and off the field. And I wish you great success in your upcoming journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast, and yeah, it was a pleasure.